Author and nationally syndicated humor columnist Tracy Beckerman has published her first book, Lost in Suburbia, a memoir. It walks us through how she found her sense of humor after leaving a job to become a stay-at-home mom. Thank you so much for being here. I laughed at this. I sort of remembered tears that I had shed going through some of the same things. And you start off and you say, I know I had been cool once.
Yeah.
And I think every mom feels that way. It's like, what happened?
Yeah, I think children happen.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you're cool, you have this cool job, and you have this identity, and then all of a sudden you give birth and you become a mom. And whether you're still working or you're not working in your home with the kids, there's just that process of becoming a mother where you're just completely uncool.
Right.
And then, you know, for me, it was coupled with the fact that I quit my job and I moved to the suburbs. And I just really, I mean, Lost in Suburbia is sort of a metaphor. It's like, yes, I was geographically lost, but I was also sort of existentially lost.
Of course.
And covered in goop, you know, and baby things and not sleeping. And I just, you know, found myself one day driving in my bathroom, and I knew.
And your husband said, you can't do that. People are going to think you're crazy.
He recognized how far I had fallen. I really didn't see it, you know. It took a little while, like by getting stopped by a cop in my bathroom, until I finally realized I needed to make a change.
Right. Well, that's what I think is so funny about it. You talk about these moments where I think that you probably had tears at the time it was happening, and we've all been in that place. And the one thing that struck me was when you said, your husband said you should wear your maternity jeans, and you're like, but I had the baby.
I know.
And he's like, well, you don't fit into your regular clothes. That's a really tough moment for a woman, but yet you laugh about it in the book. Are you laughing at that moment? Are you somehow journaling, or are you looking back later and helping us all laugh?
You know, there wasn't that much time that elapsed where I could look back at it and laugh, but you definitely need a little bit of distance. You know, it's really funny because there is actually a formula in humor writing, and it goes tragedy plus time equals humor.
Right.
And look, there's some things that will never be funny, you know, some tragedies.
Sure.
But in terms of like personal tragedies, and it wasn't a tragedy that I couldn't fit into my jeans, although at the time
it
was really tragic, but you know, and there was no way I was putting on my maternity pants after I'd already had the baby. My husband would never understand that. But, you know, later on I could look at it and say, you know what, that was kind of funny. And all the other stuff that happens raising kids at the time can be really overwhelming, but with some distance you can recognize how funny it is. And for me, that was actually part of me getting my cool back, was recognizing how funny kids are and how funny mothering is. You know, at the time when your kid is throwing a huge tantrum, like in the middle of a public space.
And you're turning red and you're embarrassed.
Oh my God, and people are looking at you like you're the worst mother in the world. That doesn't find, you know, you didn't find it so funny at the time. There was one time where I was out to lunch with my son, and all of a sudden, he's pre-verbal. He's like a little bit over a year. And he recognizes things. He can make the sound. So if he sees a police car, he'll go, woo, 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 but he won't say police,
right.
You know? Or he'll see a dog and go, woof. But he didn't know the names of things. So we're sitting there having lunch, and he looks across the restaurant, and he goes, moo. And I'm like, okay, there's a picture of a cow here somewhere, clearly, right now. I squint across, and I see a picture of a cow on the wall. Sadly, sitting underneath the cow was an extremely overweight woman. And she's looking at me because he's like looking right at her, moo! You know, and she's looking at me like I'm the worst mother in the world. And what can you do? I just laughed. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm like pointing the cow. I'm like, cow. And she's just like,
I am not.
So, you know, what's nice is I've been writing the syndicated humor column for 10 years.
And you take little snippets of it, but it's so great that you sort of compiled it all together here, because in this I say, okay, no matter what stage you're in, you may not have had the time to be able to laugh at yourself, but somehow you can laugh at it because you remember when you were there.
Right.
And especially, I mean, let's give people at home a little synopsis. I mean, you were a television executive,
right,
and now you're in the suburbs, and you call the other women in the suburbs aliens because you just don't quite know how to relate, but eventually you do find friends there.
Right, but it's tough because, you know, you first think that when you become a mother that you're going to be friends with every other mother out there.
Right.
You just by virtue of the fact that you've all birthed children, you know, or adopted children, whatever, you become a mom. But there are women there who I never would have been friends with even if they didn't have kids, so why am I going to be friends with them now? And there are definitely like your pods of mom groups, you know, in any community, and there were like, you know, the tennis moms who walked around in their tennis clothes all day. I don't even think they played tennis. I mean, makeup was beautiful and everything. But I'm like, I don't play tennis. I don't exercise at all. I went running once, like 2 weeks ago, and I broke my thumb, which is just like proof that exercise will kill you. And then, you know, there were the mall moms. I say that like a Jersey girl, I'm sorry. The mall moms. And these are the ones who like would, you know, kind of farm their kids off on other people or nannies and then go spend all their time at the mall. And then the other moms who were sort of like the give-up moms, you know, and they hung out in the mom jeans and the sweats all day and the hair scrunchies and sat around and, you know, talked about cleaning products. And I just didn't want to go there either. So I was really having trouble kind of finding my people. You know?
Right.
And at first I was like, well, it has to be somebody who worked in television and quit their job and moved to the suburbs and wears black all the time, just like me. You know, but then I started to realize that there were other women there that I could connect with.
Exactly. And it was tough. I know your husband called you a snob about it, and you're not.
I was a snob.
You're, well, all right, maybe a little.
What it is. I was a snob.
But it helped you get through to be that discerning and then find the right people. So I just think it's so fun. The book is great. Thank you for writing it and sharing all of your feelings, because I went through the journey again through my life, and I know everyone who reads it will. So thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me here.
There is a book signing starting in about an hour at Barbara's Bookstore in the lower level of Willis Tower. And you can also follow Tracy by visiting lostinsuburbiablog.com. We'll link you there from our website, though, WGNTV.com/midday.